Hi everyone, welcome to UiPath Community Visakhapatnam chapter. So Kiran, just confirm me whether you can hear my voice or not.
Yes, it's audible and it's visible. You can continue.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, hi everyone, welcome to Visakhapatnam chapter. So to get the notifications on the upcoming chapter events from this chapter, you just click on join and fill in the details so that you will be notified as and when we publish the events for all the events whatever we are going to have. And we covered a couple of past events, and you can see the recordings. If you want to see this recording, you can just go to this and you can see the you can see the recording of that session, and we'll be uploading the sessions as well under this. And also you'll get notified with the upcoming sessions as and when you have the we post the events. So, and today's session is we'll be going with this building of the UiPath custom activities, and also like how we can make the custom activities compatible for both Windows and legacy. So we'll start with the compatibility between these two, but we are going to see in detail in the later. At the end of this month, we have one more session under Hyderabad chapter. Let me go there. So the migration challenges from legacy to the Windows. So probably we'll be building the custom activity in this session, and we'll see what are the requirements, what we need to have the compatibility between the legacy and Windows. And we are going to see in more detail in the session, like migration challenges from UiPath legacy to Windows platform. So you can just register for this session also. I'll share the link in the chat. So this will be a kind of like an continuation session for this as well, because there we are going to take a legacy custom activity which is already developed, and we'll show you how we can make it compatible for both Windows and legacy. And here we are going to build and what actually required to build an custom activity. And instead of going with adding of two numbers, we'll go with an enterprise integration. So let me share. So for myself, like I'm working as a technology lead with the Signity Technologies, and I worked on like almost majority of the financial domain and retail and healthcare. And I'm leading the UiPath community chapter, Visakhapatnam. And I publish a couple of components to marketplace and also some custom activities as well. And I'm handling my own YouTube channel, Skill App here. You can just visit that channel as well for more interesting videos. And in this today's session, what we are going to see is what is a custom activity and why do we require a custom activity? Though we have a lot of activities in UiPath, and then why we need to have a custom activity to be developed. And what is the difference between the library and a custom activity? So there are some we can build a library, and we can use similar to like drag and drop activities in UiPath. Then what actually the difference between these two, and how we can create a custom activity and publish that custom activity. So creation of the custom activity didn't change much from Visual Studio 2019 to 2020, but the publishing of the custom activity happened with changes. So we are going to see that as well. And also we'll see like how we can make the custom activity work for both Windows and legacy. What are the key points we need to have? So what is a custom activity and why do we need it? So let us suppose the UiPath is a combination, like all the UiPath workflows, whatever we are going to develop is with the help of drag and drop activities we have under the activities panel. So it's a building block. These activities are the building blocks for your workflow. And all the activities, whatever we have, are released by the UiPath or some community people. When the community people, in the sense like it is a custom activity. So other than the activities which are this we are getting from UiPath, all those are like we call as a custom activity. See, even that is also an activity, but why we call it as a custom activity is because you are developing that activity for your custom requirement or a specific requirement, which may or may not useful to the other organizations. It might be useful only in your organizations, right? In some, let us suppose you are working with integration of a test file, but it might be required in across the organizations, it might not be. So when we have a generalized activities which will be helpful for entire enterprise or across multiple enterprises, UiPath will obviously release the activities, and almost like majority of the integrations are already available with UiPath. But in case you have a specific requirement, in that case, we will be building the custom activity. In case if you feel that it can be used by some other organizations or some other community developers also, then you can post that or you can publish that to the UiPath marketplace. And that will be a contribution from our side. Like that is how like the community is growing. And what is the difference between the library and a custom activity? So I said like library is a reusable component. Like you can build your UI interactions, or you can whatever XAML files we generally develop, right? Workflow files we develop in UiPath. In the similar way, we can build our custom library by selecting the library template. Like when we start the UiPath Studio, we'll see the process library template. So there you can select your library, and when you publish that, that will be published as a package. And when you try to install that package in any of your projects through the managed packages, those will reflect as an activities in your UiPath activities panel. But then we have a library, then why do we need to have a custom activity, right? The library is can be developed only with the available activities in UiPath Studio or available resources, whatever we have in UiPath Studio. But the custom activity is something that we are extending our activities for a specific functionalities with the help of Shisha, and we can develop that custom activity, and we can have in the similar way fashion how we are using in the library. And how we can create and publish the custom activities. So initially, when we started in 2017 or 2016, those days in 2017 or 2018, I think till 2019 late or early 2020, we used to develop the custom activity with the help of class library project from the UiPath Visual Studio. So we need to develop the functionality, and then we need to develop the design project, and we need to put more and more effort in order to build the custom activities in before 2020. And what UiPath came up with is like they created a custom activity creator plugin for Visual Studio. And from there, we will be using this activity creator plugin to develop our custom activities. And it became much more easier for us to develop the custom activities. The difference between these two is previously we used to develop each and every properties or metadata, everything we used to write off our own. And whereas the UiPath activity creator, you just focus only on your functionality, whatever you want to do. And the rest, whatever the required additional features, everything was taken care by UiPath activity creator. And the Windows platform came into the picture. Like in UiPath, we have legacy projects and the Windows platform projects also. So when the changes came in and they upgraded their activity plugin, but for that, like to create your custom activities, the only thing what we have is like when I started, when we validated a few months back, we need to have Visual Studio 2022 and also 2019 to be installed on our machine in order to build your custom activity, because the .NET target framework .NET 4.6.1 will come only with the 2019 version of Visual Studio. And if that was not installed, you cannot create a project with activity creator. And in case if you are using 2019 version, you cannot even install the UiPath activity creator plugin. So that is the challenge. So to overcome that, we will be using both Visual Studio 2022 and 2019 as well. And how can we make our custom activity work for the legacy and Windows as well? See, what actually the differentiation of the legacy and Windows, why they came into the picture. So there is nothing legacy actually. In case if you are coming up with a new enhancements or something, and if you think that the existing platform is too old compared to this new platform, then both are same, but the new platform came. both are lying on the same technology and the new platform came, then the older, whatever we have, that we call it as a legacy. Legacy is nothing but an older platform. So this differentiation came into the picture because the target framework, whatever we are using, like not only to develop the custom activities, even for the UiPath platform as well. The legacy is lying on top of .NET 4.6.1, and the new will be on the .NET 6.0. So is it possible to build the activities, the same package compatible for both legacy and Windows? Because when your target frameworks are different, when you're building on a different framework, which are not compatible, like .NET 6 is not compatible with legacy, and .NET 4.6.1 is not compatible with Windows. So in that case, how we can make a single package? Is it possible to make a single package which will be compatible for both the target frameworks? Yes, it is possible. And we are going to see probably how we can make it compatible for both. So let us get into the Visual Studio and let us see how we can do. And in this session, what we are going to do is we are going to build an integration between your test management platform and the UiPath custom. We are going to build a custom activity to interact with TestRail. So what all we need actually required to in order to have this the integration to work, right? So here we are going to go with the API calls, and we need to just look into the API documentation and see whatever the APIs are. Okay. Whatever the APIs we have, the documentation, we can build our integration for all this. And in this, what we are going to do is we'll take two API calls, whatever like actions we want to perform, and we will develop this custom activity integration like parent-child combination. Okay. So let me open the Visual Studio 2022. So I installed both Visual Studio 2019 and 2022 as well here. So to create a new project, we'll select the create new project, and we'll be using this standard activity package. Let me come back here. I'll go without creating a project, and I'll go to the extensions. I'll go to the manage extensions. And here in the online, I'll search with UiPath, and the activity creator will be available. And if this is not installed, we can install it from this manage extensions. And once this is installed, when you want to start a new project, you can select UiPath. You can search from here, because I have that left side because I already created a project with that. So I am getting that, but we can just select from here, UiPath standard activity project. If I click on next, like we need to give the name, and make sure that you are not going to give UiPath dot and your project name, because UiPath dot is reserved for UiPath official activities. Okay. And if you see here, right, like .NET Framework 4.6.1, that's the reason for which I said like we need to have 2019 version also to be installed. And here I can change TestRail. So the company name and the project name. No, in Visual Studio Code, it is not available. It is available only with the Visual Studio. It's not only with the enterprise, it's with the community as well. You can have the UiPath community edition, sorry, Visual Studio community edition, or you can have student account or enterprise also. Everything will be fine. So we will be writing the company name and your product name, like to against which functionality you are building. So I'm building an integration with the TestRail, so I'm having this. So this is how we will be naming our project. And in the activities also, it will be kept in the similar hierarchy. So click on create. If you see, right, all the projects are got created. These are like add-ons for our UiPath activities, like which will be internally utilized by our activities. And this is the three projects three projects, I can say three solutions which are under this test trail. These are the activities we have, and this will be holding your whatever the, in case if you have some properties and all, like the additional functionalities if you want to build, that will be holded in this. And these are the activities, whatever the activities, drag and drop activities functionality we have, that will be in under this activities. And in case if you are building some designs around it, like whatever the design we will be looking, the visual representation of the activities, that will go under this. So let us see how we can create the activities. Before we want to create the activities, let us go to the tools and go to Nugget Package Manager, and let us see what are the already by default installed activities. So these are the activities which are installed by default. And now I think these are available under the Nugget also, but previously we used to have it on UiPath Marketplace. Because at that time, initially, like a few months back, we don't have these activities available in the marketplace. In case if Nugget, and in case if you want to have, so if you want to have that, like in case if that is not available for you, you just keep this UiPath Marketplace URL. This is available even in your studio as well. So I can just ping this also. This will help you to install the packages in case if these are not available under the Nugget. And if you want to upgrade this, you can upgrade, but I just want to keep it as it is. I don't want to touch the existing libraries or dependencies. And now, what else we need to have? We may need to have. Now we are dealing with the APIs, right? So when we are dealing with the APIs, we need to install one Nugget package, which is Newtonsoft. Because when we are dealing with the APIs, we will be dealing with we'll be dealing with JSON format and all. To work with the JSON format for the .NET, we need to have the Newtonsoft.json. So this activity needs to, this package needs to be installed. You can install on all these three, or you can just install on this. And in case if you just install this, like we can utilize this dependency under the activities. But what I suggest is to have on the design as well, because our compilation or our packaging will be done from the design project. If you see, right, it is asking under the three projects, for which project you want to install this. And when the compilation and the packaging is happening from the design project, so better to have this package installed on this as well. So let me go ahead and install this. So the installation is done. And now we need to create the activities. So how we can create the activities is, like you can select any of these three projects. Like you can select any of the folder. You can just click on any of the folder, or you can click on this, or you can click on this. Like it is up to us where we want to click. So we can just click on any of this, and we will go to the extensions, and we will go to the UiPath, and we'll click on add activities. So this wizard will come into the picture, and so there will be two options, whether to create or an import. Import in the sense like not importing any project. It is kind of, we can import the existing JSON for creation of these activities. So when we are coming here, we can create our activities here. So in case once we create that, right, we'll show that. And here, what I'm planning to think is, I'll just take add run as one activity, which I'm going to use, and I'll go to the results. In the results, I want to add the test results to a test case. Get results from a case, add results to case. Okay, so these two, I'll use these two. Add results to the case. So I'll use these two in order to build my custom activity. So before that, what I want to do is I want to build a parent activity, which means like we have the Excel application scope, and inside that we have read range, write range, right? In the similar way, I want to write test trail application scope. Click on add. We can give the name. I'll give test trail application scope. So And I can put a description, application scope to authenticate test trail and serve to group the test trail activities, actions. So you can write your own description, but it should be meaningful and it should convey what actually we are trying to do here. And this is not a simple activity. This is a scope activity. So I created a scope activity. And here I can edit the properties. So what actually the properties I require. So before we start with this development, we need to make sure what actually we are expecting as an input parameters or an output parameter for this particular activities. Not only for this activity, for all the activities. So let me try to add few properties. What all I need to have? I need to have a username, password, and endpoint, right? So these are the three input parameters I need to have. And I can say this is test trail URL, which will be a base URL to authenticate test trail application. And I can have username, password. Password, we can have it as a secure string. Because we need to have it as a secured. And all these three are the required parameters. Nothing is optional. So, right, I'll use this required as enabled. And these two will come under the authorization category. So if you see, right, we have options, input, output, and authentication. So I'm going to give this username and password in the authentication. And this as an input. So here, username to access test trail application. Here it is, password to authenticate. So these are the input parameters I have, and direction we can specify. In case if you are taking it as an input, we'll mark it as in, and in case if you are taking it as an out, we'll mark it as out. Click on OK. So the test trail application scope, we configured everything, and I want to put some icon. Let us see what icons I have. Version test trail switch. I'll open this. See here. So this is the logo of test trail, and I can have this as an icon. In our UiPath drag and drop, we can see these icons. Click on finish. Oops. I already added this and I don't have the child available, right? Okay, let us see how we can build this. We can have like along with this itself, we can add the child, or else again also we can create the activities and we can comment, we can add it later. So now if I open this activity, see here, I have all the code generated by default. When we create a CS file, we will not have all of this, but now we have each and everything available here, right? So we have all the inputs given here, and here in this protected method, I think we will be writing our functionality here above this return. This return is like something that in case if you want to return something, we will be adding it, and we'll see in the next upcoming activities. And if you see, right, as soon as the scope is created and we got this designer also got created. So now we need to build our connection string, and we need to pass that connection string to the child activities, right? So here to authenticate to the test trail, so first we need to understand like how it is going to work. And So if you doesn't know like how it is actually working in the Postman collection, right? You can search for that particular application and you can get the Postman collection. So here I got the Postman collection, which I cloned to MySpace. And if I see the code snippet, like you'll be having this, and now you got each and everything configured here. If you go here, you can select your programming language. So I'm selecting this. If I see here, right, I could able to see the barrier key. Authorization is based on the barrier. So what I can do is I can use the simple authentication with username and password, but it is a barrier. So I'll be converting that to the base 64 string ASCII value byte. Okay. So let me first build an authorization token where auth token. ASCII. So I'll use the username and password here, but the password, whatever I'm getting is secure string, right? So I want to convert that to the string. So this is my string password. So I'll be using this username and the string password here to build my authentication token. So it's done. Now I need to build my HTTP client. So HTTP client equal to. So we declared the HTTP instance. And now we need to add the URL and also the authorization details. So we can add client dot base address. So it is all automatically giving us like almost majority of our work will be reduced here itself. And now we added the test base URL, and now we can add client dot default headers. Add accept the content type to application and JSON. So our format should be application and JSON. Let us come back to this. Somewhere it should be mentioned, but here in the documentation, in the API documentation, it will be visible for sure. If I go here, right? You go to this. Here is the documentation. Like content is this. So we need to add that. Once it is done, we need to add the authorization. We will also go into the adders and add. We'll be using authorization. We will be saying that it is a basic. So will be, now we are going to pass the authentication token, convert to base 64 string auth token. So now our client authorization or authentication is successful. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to add this to the object container. And by default, we generally get that when we are going to create both the parent and child activities together. So now we are not getting it. So what we can do is object container dot add client. So this can be added. Spelling mistakes. Oh, correct. Thanks, Rin. Instead of that, let me go here and directly copy it here. Now it should be good. And here it is content type, right? In the website, you go to the API documentation, it is content type. Let us copy this. So accept, we will use the content type. Yeah. Splitting. So we will be passing in this way. And let us do one thing. First, let us package this and let us see whether our package is working as expected or not. And it is, can it be imported into the UiPath Studio or not? And then we will come back and build the child activities. So let me open UiPath Studio. So here we need to publish this package. In order to publish this package, first we need to make some configurations, because in previously when we click on directly publish, it used to be get published. But now what we need to do is we need to go to properties under the design project only. For design project, we need to go to the properties and we need to scroll down. We should come till the package. So here we need to select this produce a package file during the build operations. Without that, you are going to get the DLL files, not the nugget package. So if you get the DLL package, then you need to again use the nugget package manager to pack it as a nugget package, because in UiPath only we can import the nugget packages. So I'll be selecting this. And here, in case if you want to give some name, right, you can give it. Like if you are not going to give any name, then what you are going to get is like signity.testfile.activities. Or else, like what you can do is here, test trail activities. You can just simply write this and you'll get the same name. Or else I can just say in this way. And you can just give your company name or your name. See, author is like the person who is developing this solution. So I can put my name. And the company name is, you can just give the company name, whatever you are going to give, like from which organization you are giving, right? So you can give that. And description, we can specify it. This package is developed to integrate with test trail application. To update the test results from UiPath. Okay. And here in the copyright also, you can just change your company name. And in case if you are having some documentation, right, you can add your documentation here. Or in case if you are putting your code into the Git repository, you can just add that Git repository here, so that like you can just simply, people can directly navigate to your source code and they can look into your code. And icon, you can give your company logo. And if you want to give something, the tags you can give, and release notes, initial development, and is developed only for scope activity, and other activities will follow in next release. So these are the configurations we need to make. And here you can say with a semicolon, you can say test trail. So the people, whoever searches in the marketplace, right? So based on the keywords, you will get this testing, test manager. So we can go with this. So instead of comma, we just need to keep semicolon. So now we done all of our configurations, and just we'll save this. And now what we'll do is we'll go to this publish, and we need to publish, specify the profile. So where you want to publish, like you can publish it to the Azure platform or Docker or folder. So for now, I'll be going with the folder. And here the folder you can change. You can put it to the downloads, or you can put it in the same folder. So for now, I'm just leaving as it is, but you can change it and click on finish. So our development, our publishing profile is created. And now when we click on publish, the package will be published to that particular location. And now I don't want to go for the release because this is an initial build. I'll go select for the debug, click on save. And sometimes if you directly try to release, click on the release, right, it may give you an error. So in that case, you just change it back to the debug and first publish it in the debug mode, and then you can publish it to the release. So now I want to build this solution just to validate in case if I have any validation errors or something. When we build the solution, then only we will get this. So once these three are successful, which means my code is good with the validation, free from the validation errors. Now we'll click on publish. Now the package has got published, and it has got published to this particular folder. So I can open this. And I see that all the Nugget packages. If I come back to the debug, here I can see the Nugget package, a new package. So I can copy this. I'll put it in the downloads because I'm taking all the activities from the downloads only. So I'll go to the package, manage packages. If I click on downloads, I can see Signity here, right? Signity test trail activities. If you see the name also, right? Signity test trail activities. And whatever the description we specified in there, we are getting it here. And the author, we are getting it here. And we have the tags also, whatever the tags we define. And we have the dependencies because we installed only the neuronsoft.json. So now I can click on install, click on save. See here, I'm getting the test signity.test activities and other. Click on accept. Now let us see whether I have that activities got reflected here or not. See, I have a Signity here, and under that I have a test trail, and I have the test trail application scope. So I got the logo, whatever I uploaded there, right? So I got this. And see why we are writing in this hierarchy. I have one more Signity activities which are available with me. So let me install this text differentiator. If I go to the Signity, so here I have to test trail and the other is text differentiator. So whatever the integrations I'm going to build with the targeting to the different applications. So I'll be having under this Signity, which means like in my organization, I am building these activities. Even if I publish to the marketplace and someone installs this, that also will give you the Signity. Okay. And this is my test trail application scope. And I'll go to the properties. So what I need to give? I need to give the password, which is a secure string. So if you see here, right, password to authenticate test trail application, whatever the descriptions we gave when we are building it in the when we are creating the activities, so the same we got here. Okay. So the display name. So we'll give the base URL and all, and let us see whether this is working for us or not. So when I say the base URL, this will be my base URL. So I have this. And now I need to have a username. Let me go here. My settings. This is my username. Email address will be my username. pathru.chintakal@skillrp.com. And I need to give the password, which will be a secure string, right? So if it is a string directly, I can just pass on this, but it will give me a validation error because it is secure string. So I'll just use system dot net dot network credential. Secure password. Now I need to pass in the API key here. So how we can create the API key is under my settings. Like if you go here under my settings, we have the API keys. So here we need to click on add key and we can generate the API key. And before that, what we need to do is we need to go to the administration and under the site settings, we need to come here and here we need to enable the API. Okay. As I already created my API key, I can just use that. Click on OK. So my input parameters are passed. So let me run this. I'm getting misused header name content type. So we are getting an error. So let me see what mistake I have done. Let me stop this. What I can do is I'll go to this. Here it is the problem. Maybe because of this. I'll remove this and click on save. Now I'll put. Now it's not necessary for me to make any of the changes. I can keep everything as it is. I can go to the go to the publish and click on publish. The new version is published. So let me go back. Here the new version is published. I can just move it to the downloads again. Now this time I'll just go to the manage packages and it will give me an option to upgrade. Click on upgrade. Let me run it now again. So it worked well, which means like my code is working and we are not sure whether it is the authentication is happening or not, but at least the compilation is going on and we can continue to build our workflows. Because see what will happen is sometimes we will get some different errors of compilation and all. So in case if we could able to get rid out of it, then we can look into the functionality, because 99% the functionalities will work, and the problem, the majority of the problem what we are going to face is with this what we say majority of the problem we will be facing with this dependency resolution and all. So now we want to build an activity which will go for add run. So let us define those. So because I selected this, right, it is disabled. So if I click on this, even on any of these projects under this, if I click on this also, it is disabled. If I click here, it is enabled. So in any of this, I can just click there and it will be enabled, and I can click on activities. Now I can create. I need to have two activities, right? One is, we go here, what we are thinking to have, add run. Another is add results for the case. Instead of having add run, right? So we can have it as this also, but we can even change it also. Like instead of having add run, right, I can just add test execution. Because when we are running the test cases, we call it as a test executions, and here the name is run. So it is depends on the target applications, right? So because of that, it is having like that. So I can just put test execution run, and the other is add results for the test case. Add results to the test case. Remove this A. Add results to the test case. And we can give the descriptions. You can just keep add the run to existing test suite, similar to adding test execution for test set. So here in test file, right, we call it as a test suite. Generally, it is a test set. And add results to test case. Add test results to test case under run. When we are executing the test executions, right, test set is getting executed, and under the results of that particular test execution, we will be adding this. And these two are the simple activities. Those are not parent activities. And now we need to see what are the different inputs we may need to provide to the test execution or for adding a run. So what are the different properties we may need to have? So that we will be seeing it here. So for adding a run, we need to have a project ID and the suite ID. And we can give the name. It is an optional. And if you want to give the name, we can give the name also. And all the other things, whatever we have, are not mandatory. One second, guys. All those are not mandatory. So we can just skip or we can include. So it is up to us whether we want to provide that facility or not. So based on that, we can define. So for now, what we will go is, we'll go with the name, suite ID, and the project ID. And the name also, if you want, you can generate on the fly, but let us give these three to see how it is going to work. Okay. And when we add the run, what it is going to return us? Response content. It will be similar to the get run. So let us go back and see what it is having. You are going to get the run ID, because we need to use the run IDs when we are updating the test results. So we need to capture it. So let me go back here. Get run. Here we are going to get all the details. Oops. We go back for a while. Yeah. If I go back to here somewhere I have the get run, right? So here I'll be getting get run ID and all. So let us come back to here. Get runs, add run, sorry. So this is my endpoint, like whatever the base URL I have, after that I have this. Okay. So now first let us define the properties, whatever we want to have. Input, we need to have the project ID and also suite ID, and the output, which will be our run ID. So here we will be writing project ID, and here we will be writing suite ID. So on for which test set we want to create, and the run ID. This we will be setting it as out. As soon as I change the category, the direction is changing to out. And this is optional. If you want to take the output, you can take it, or else we'll go with the input. And now we will be writing the descriptions for this. ID of the project under which we want to add the run. ID of the suite, which is nothing but the group of test cases, which is nothing but test set. ID of the suite for which we want to add the run. ID of the test execution run we created. So this will be our out argument. So these three are mandatory and we need to have it, right? Click on OK. So we are running out of time, like we need to sleep. So we'll add only one activity. In the similar way, we can add the other activities also. Okay. So if you want to have an icon, you can add any icon you want to have similar to that and click on finish. So now we got the test, add test execution run. So we will not touch anything. See here, we'll directly go to the protected methods, and under that we have here. And before we come here, we need to retrieve the client, because we don't have the client, right? So here we need to add the client before this. Inside of this project only, we need to add the clients. So let us do one thing. Object container dot get. Oops. Yeah, I'm missing. A client equal to object container dot So first I need to define the object container. Where object container equal to text dot get extension. Get from context a object. Industrial applications. Of parent. See, whatever this line we have, right? Let me first remove this line. Whatever this line we have, in case if we are going to create our activity, child activity also along with the parent, you will get it. So for example, let me do one thing quickly. Create a new project. I'll just keep I'll keep the default names. And now I'll be adding a few activities here. Extensions UiPath, add activities. I'll go and add 2 activities. Parent, child. I will not add anything. I'll just mark this as scope and the below one as simple. Click on finish. So if I go to child, if I expand this, here, see this. So this way, by default, we will be getting it. Whatever we developed here right now, right? Written the code, right? So that will be automatically available. If I add one more activity, child now, child 2. If I click on finish, and this will not have that. And now I need to add it. So this is the actual property which is holding the people to use these activities only under the application scopes. So I just need to copy this from this. So this is how this line will come. And don't worry about this code, particular code, whatever line, whatever we developed here now. And because that is completely with this, you'll be getting along with the activity creator. Okay. So now I need to get my client, where client equal to object container dot get and I just need to mention the type, what type I need to get. HTTP client. Simple. So now whatever the client we passed in the scope activity, that will be automatically get added here. Okay. So now what we need to do, we have this project ID, suite ID, and now we forgot one thing. We forgot to add the name property. We thought of passing the name also, right, for the run, and we forgot to add that particular name. So what we can do? What we can do is we can go here into the properties, and here we can add it. So it will come under the input category, right? So the category is input. So what I will do is I'll just take this and I can just write this as name. Okay. And here I can just give the description. I can change the description. Instead of going there, right? If it doesn't want to go to that particular and define all those things, just put a double quotes and give that. And even for the name also, you can simply just put a double quote and give name of run. Here description, name of the run to be added to project. So now even this will also go as an in-argument name. And now I want name also here, right? Where name equal to name.getThanks context. So we got it. So now we got the name also, and we got the project ID, and we got the suite ID also. So now we need to build. So let us go to add run here. In the add run, we need to go for the post request for this particular endpoint. And here we will be passing the project ID here and the suite in some body format. Okay. So let me take this. Yeah. We need to use the post request, right? So what I can do is var run response equal to client dot post async. You can go for the post. I need to add the URL, the base URL, and this new URL as well. Additional URL. And I need to pass in what else? I need to send the URL, HTTP content. So the HTTP content, how I can pass is like in the JSON format. Let me go back here. Add run. I need to add the suite ID and name. These two inside of that. How I can pass it. I'll go to the runs. Add a run. There is this box. This way it will be difficult because we are using the parent and child, right? Let me open. I have the JSON created to convert the JSON. So I'll be using it. So this is clearly for like how we can just write the JSON in C#. You can Google it for this. And I need to give the suite ID. Let me go back here. Here in the add run, I have suite ID. This is the key exactly we need to pass there. We can go for the name. So we will be using only these two. So this is my JSON string. And now I need to replace this suite ID with the suite ID and name with the name. Right. So replace. So our JSON, whatever the documentation is saying, right? In the similar way, we built our JSON. Now we just need to add our JSON here. Project ID, we can just directly pass it. Right. Then writing some mistake. Dot UFT8 because we didn't import the namespace. Sorry. So just need to pass in the content type. So the content type we already defined here. We'll be using the same. So we executed the response, and let us do one thing. Instead of taking the direct ID, right? For now, I'll directly pass on the response, and we'll see what actually we are getting. And based on that, we can deserialize it. And even we can directly see it here also. Like the response will be like this. So which means like we are going to get the ID. Where is that? Here it is ID. So we can directly use this ID also, ID keyword as well. So let us come here. We can use J object. We can deserialize whatever the response we are going to get, right? Run object equal to J object dot parse. And in the parse, we will be writing the run response, whatever we are going to get in the above request dot result dot content dot read string as async dot result. So this will be our JSON object, and from this JSON object, what we can do is just write string run ID equal to the JSON object. In that, like we have the keyword of run object. We can just pass in the ID. What happened this? And we can pass in this. Did some mistake. Let me copy this. Somewhere. I might have done some mistake in the return. Let me see. Yeah, correct only. String run ID equal to run object, and in that ID dot toString. So it should give us, but if you see, right, like here we are just giving only this. So let me add one more thing here, dollar symbol, because we are going to append this URL to our base URL. And let us come back to the design, publish, and click on republish. So this is our new package. Go to downloads and put this. Upgrade. Click on save. Go to security, test trial, add test run. Now I need to give the project ID and suite ID. Where is my test trial? So here is my project. If I go here, I can see this as 1, which means my project ID is 1. And I need to give the suite ID. Here is my suite. If I go here, I can see 2, which means 2 is my suite ID. And let us create a variable here, run ID. And I'll be using a message box to see this. Let us execute and see. One. If I go here and if I go to the project, here I can see. Where is this? Test runs. It has got created. But if you see, right, here we didn't provide the name. And later we created the name of the run, right? So after defining in the wizard, we created it from the properties. That also came in here. Test execution. And if we are not going to provide the name, if we are passing it as an empty, it is just taking the same name what we have. See here, suite name and the run name, both are same. And if I click on the execute, my second one is got created. Refresh here. Test execution done. So whatever the name we are going to give, it is going to take the name. So this is how we can build an integration to any of the applications where the APIs are exposed and we have the API information available. Okay. And now I think we are almost reached the time, but we can see. So this project, if you see, right, here we have .NET 6.0 and we have only .NET 6.0. And this project is not compatible with UiPath legacy framework. So if I go here, and this is compatible only with UiPath Net 6.0 Windows. And in case if I want to make this compatible for both Windows and Windows legacy, how we can do it? Let me go here. I just need to copy a couple of things from the UiPath website. So I just see these are by default available. This is same. And target framework, I can just keep this addition for this target framework. In legacy, we need to remove the whole thing and we need to copy the whole thing from here. But here it is not required because all the other things will be taken care. And root namespace and all these things are same. We have some imports available. Group includes, where are the includes? Yeah, here it is. We have only UiPath workflow and this, right? So what I can do is I can just put a condition here. Here it is, where we have the runtime and all. Where is that? In runtime, I'll be having it here. Yeah, here it is. We have workflow, runtime. Let me do it from the legacy, not from here. I don't want to disturb this. And let me go to some legacy project and do it. Migration from legacy to Windows. So this, I'm closing this out. And I have a project, data table. I'm just extracting this. Extract to folder. Okay. Folder. Okay. Click on OK. And let me open that. So this project is not compatible with the Windows platform because this was built for legacy applications. And if you see, right, even now also it will not work properly for me. If I try to open. So we can see this, but it will be hard for us to publish. So what I need to do is I just need to go here, unload the project. When the project is unloaded, I just need to remove all this. I just need to clean it up. Before I clean, right, I need to keep this in some document. Control Z, Control X. I'll just put it here. So this is for which project I have? This is for design. Okay, let me change it for the design. So what changes do I need to have? I need to keep this project SDK updated from here. It is project version, right? So this line needs to be completely changed. Should be changed. Project. We'll be just changing it. And now I have the target framework need to be added. .NET 6 Windows as well. Where is that? We have it, .NET framework 4.6.1, right? So here we'll be adding it. Instead of 4.6.1, we'll change it to 4.6.1. We can keep that as well. That is fine. And all the root assemblies and all these things will be common. It's not necessary to change anything. And come here, generate assembly info false. Let me take it up to that Visual Studio. Looking will be good. Generate assembly name and generate assembly to be false, right? It is not available, so we'll use this. To use WPF is also not available. Yeah, we are going to add these two. And we added the target frameworks, both target frameworks, right? Now, what we need to do is we have some imports here, includes here. What are the core presentations and all? So if you see, right, in the same, we have all those, but there will be some add-ons and all. And it is having a condition that in case if the target framework we are referring to is 4.6.1. So we just need to add this item till this place. So here, but we have the 6 also, so we can extend it to here. So in case of 6, we'll be using these references, or packet dependencies. In case of 461, we will be using these dependencies. So we'll go here from item group to item group, we'll be replacing it. Okay. And now what we are going to do is we'll do the same thing for activities also. Oops, we had done a mistake, and we can even keep this as weed 461 also, but let me change it here. Instead of we need to have net 461, right? Yeah. Same. And we may need to remove a couple of things going further. We'll see. This output type and project GUID, these are not required because all the things will be taken care by our new platform. So let us keep for a while. In case if you are getting some errors, then we can modify it. And now here we need to add those. Let me copy it from here. So where is this target framework version? I need to copy it properly. I think target framework in this way, I need to copy it. Some tags needs to be removed and some tags needs to be kept. So we'll use this and use WPF. Take it back. Let's go back. Work and the root assemblies will be good enough. I can remove all this. And when we have the include groups, here we'll be changing it. I need to have it separately, right? I just need to exclude this because Newtonsoft is required. So I will do is I'll just remove this. So what I'll do, fill this place. I'll remove this includes. And now I will add this condition item groups. Because this library, whatever we have, this will be required for both. And here also we need to add that in the 6.0 also. We'll see. Based on the compatibility versions, we will upgrade in that. So now I'm saving it. I'll go here. Here also I need to change. I'll just exclude the root namespaces and assembly names because those are for the activity names. I'll just put this target framework. Done. Where is the target framework? There it is. Done everything perfectly, but here we didn't change the project line for all the two. We changed it for here, and activities also we need to change. It's done. There are some additional properties which we may need to relieve, but once we load the project, then we'll get to know. So now we are loading this. So if I come here, for each and every code, right, I have two versions, 4.6.1 and 6.0. And for 4.6.1, I don't have any issues, but for 6.0, I came across this issue. So I just need to resolve this. So for this, I need to go to the Nugget package dependencies, and here I need to see, I just need to resolve this. Update. So we are getting all these errors, right? So we just need to resolve them, like going to each and every activity. But we got the two versions, whereas like 4.461 is not having any issues, and here we have the issues. We have only for 6.0, and we just need to resolve them. And those are these, which is nothing but this activity version. So we just need to work on this activities.core presentations. So let me see what version did I kept in the metadata. Go to the activities. We have 6.0 activities, 6.0, 3.18. Can go to this. What version did I kept? We kept V18.2. Is that the version? No. So now I need to just update this version, whatever is got installed here. Go to this activities. I get package. And this is workflow runtime. Sorry, I'm going with workflow runtimes. Okay. 318, these are correct only. So let me open the new workflow. Whatever is the version it has got installed. So we'll get to know. Whatever we created right now, we'll go there. And we'll go to this. So let me go for system.activities.metadata. And I don't need the core presentations, I guess. I'll just go with this. And this is not required. Remove this. UiPath workflow runtime. And these two should be good enough. So what I will do is I'll just delete till this place. Now come here. Activities does not exist. Restore. So these are the changes we generally do. So we are running, since we are running out of the time. So probably in the next migration from legacy to the Windows platform, we'll cover this, like how we can resolve this. So probably there we will be taking up this data table activities only from legacy to the Windows, and we will resolve all those issues on that day, because that is confined to that. And we could able to build our custom activity for test trial application. Like we can build for any applications where the APIs are exposed and in the similar way. And now we are open for the questions. Like if you have any questions, please let me know. We'll cover. So you can unlock and unmute and you can ask the questions.
Today, like we have seen something how to create a custom activity, and we also like converted like some part of thing where we created something on Windows, but it still supports on Windows Legacy. Or else, like you created on Windows Legacy, you want your code to be supported in Windows too. So that is what we thought of showing you. But since we had a time permit, we are not able to completely show that. But these were the changes what today has shown is similar to the things what we'll do it in a real demo also. So in the continuation part of the next session, what we have the challenges, we'll try to cover it up the complete part there. So any questions we are open to answer. Please let us know on the same. Okay, I think Patru, we are fine. I think we can just wind up the session.
Okay.
Yeah.